Hello everyone, today we're going to create a simple day and night cycle. To do this, the first thing we want to go is into our outliner. We want to look for the sunlight or directional light, it might be called in your case, I renamed it. And inside the sunlight we want to go to the details panel and look for the settings that we're going to change. The main three we're going to look at is intensity, the light color, and the temperature. So the first thing I want to use temperature. Right now, the default values are an intensity of 10, a color of white, and this temperature. The temperature determines how warm or cold the scene feels. If we go to lower values, we go to warmer. And if we go to the right, or higher values, we go to a colder ambience. So if this is our day, I want to check the values I want for my night. So I want it to be darker, so I'm going to reduce the intensity to 3. I also want the light color to be darker, so something like this. And I want the night to feel colder, so we might increase this actually to the maximum. Okay, so once we have the values that we want for our night, we can set this back to where it was. Remember the values, so 12,000, 3, and a grayish color. You can play with these values later on. We also want to check, this will depend on your project and what direction you want to be, north, west, east, and south. As you can see, the default rotation is 0, minus 46, 0. If I increase this close to 0, we can see that this would be the east if we only change the y-axis, and the lower the number gets, the more rotation we have. So in this case, for this tutorial, we're simply going to rotate around the y-axis. Gonna leave this by default. And now the logic to update the rotation of the sun and the moon and the light intensity is going to be created in the level blueprint. To open the level blueprint, we go up here, open level blueprint, and as you can see, I already have my logic inside. So the first thing we want to do is get the event begin play, and from there we're going to plug it into a timeline. I called my timeline day timeline. Inside we're going to create a track of type float. In my case the length is 50, but you probably want a higher number. I simply put this lower number to test out if it worked properly and everything. So put whatever length you want. You also can have different lengths for the day and the night, depending on how long you want both of them to be. So determine your length and add 2 floats. Right click, add key, and here you set the time and the value. For the first key, we want a time of 0 and value of 0, and as we progress to the end of the time, we want a value of 1. So at time, maximum time, and a value of 1. We can go back into our event graph, duplicate this timeline since I'm going to be using the same one for the night. I simply changed the name, but as you can see, the length is the same, 0, 0, and 51. Now, from event begin play, we plug into the play. And on update, we want to set the actor rotation of sunlight. Something very important is that if you want to get a reference to sunlight, we have to go to the outliner, select our sunlight, go back to our blueprint level, and if we right click, you'll see that we can create a reference to sunlight. And this is exactly what I've been using. So from here, we get the set actor rotation node. And from the day timeline, we're gonna get a multiply node. I'm selecting minus 185 because I want my sun to move from 0 to 185 and then disappear, and then it's time for the moon to come. You can also try numbers like 180 or 190 if you want it to be darker before the moon comes. But anyway, that's why it's 185. Since we're going to be multiplying this value times the minus 185, as the timeline progresses, it will be multiplied first by 0, then by 0 point whatever until we get to 1. So we'll go progressively from 0 to 1, multiplying this and therefore moving the sun the way we want it. So let's set this back to default. So once the timeline has updated and it has finished, we want to call our custom event start night. I created two custom events, start day and start night. To create a custom event, you simply right click on your graph, type custom, add custom event, rename it to whatever you want, and that's it. And then once we have them created, we can go back here, and from finished we drag and we type start night and start day. Since this is the day timeline, we want to start night from here. And on our night time event, we will start day. So it will be a perpetual cycle. So once we have this part done, from the event begin player, we go into a timeline. The timeline updates the rotation of the sun. And then once the timeline has finished, we go into start night. And now in start night, we have to set the variables that we checked before. So the temperature, the intensity, and the light color. From sunlight, we want to get the light component. And here, type temperature. We also need the intensity. And we also need the light color. Temperature will be higher, so a colder ambience. The intensity will be lower. We can actually change this to 3. And we can change the light color to something darker. This will be the exact same thing. We update the actor rotation over a period of time that you determine. Once the timeline has finished, we're going to start day. And start day, we reset the variables to what it was. So we simply copy and paste it here. And instead of 12,000, we get to 6,500. Set intensity to 6. Or actually here we had it at 10. It doesn't really matter, 6 is quite a good number either way. And then the color, we set it back to white. And this time it's important that we say play from start. And now that everything is done here, it should work. So we can go back to our landscape. We're gonna say play from here. And as you can see, the sun comes up from that direction. I'm gonna speed things up here, so we don't have to wait so much. Don't forget to comment any future tutorials you might want to see. So it's working. As you can see, it's really simple. I hope you enjoyed the video, that you learned something, and if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.